All right. Hey, everybody. We are live. This is Monday evening. This is August the 28th. We are live right now with Ask the Agent. I am your host, Sharina George. Welcome to another amazing time where I bring those in from the village. You guys know I believe in cooperative working together to see the transaction through. There are so many from the village who's very necessary to the transaction, from mortgage to real estate to drone photography, inspection, appraisal. There's so many of us that need to work together to ensure your transaction goes through successfully. So, Ask the Agent is your opportunity if you're looking to sell your home, if you're looking to buy or invest in real estate. This is your opportunity to have the answers to your questions. So, on tonight, I have two amazing villagers who I've brought on to be able to answer your live questions. We have Sharika. How are you this evening?
I'm well. Thank you for having me, Sharina.
Awesome. And I also have Paul right here with inspections. How are you this evening, Paul?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. So we are excited, you guys. You guys know the drill a little bit. For you guys who have watched us in the past, is that we do have live questions fueling in. But before we get started with your questions, I want you to get a little understanding and kind of get to know a little bit of who I have before you this evening. So, Sharika, tell our viewing audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been in the mortgage industry for almost 20 years. I started off as a collector and then the market crashed and then I became a underwriter, processor, closer, but now I am a licensed realtor. I am also a licensed lender, and I do practice both of them. So I welcome your questions, and I hope we have an informative platform for you all.
Yes, yes, I'm excited to have you on tonight. Paul, tell us about yourself a little bit. You guys, I had Paul on a previous show, really great, thorough answers from inspections. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Paul.
Well, my wife Karen and I started our company back in '04, so we've been in the inspection business for 20 years. And during that time, we've grown to become one of the major players in the area, but we did it the right way. We surround ourselves with villagers like yourself, and many others in many disciplines so that we can be the most helpful for whoever it is that hires us, whether it be in the immediate inspection process or whether it be just a short time thereafter where there's questions or solutions to problems that need to come forward.
Awesome. And it sounds like you guys are doing an amazing job, you and your team. So we're going to get started this evening with a little bit of light conversation, you guys, about from the seller aspect. So sometimes you guys who are listening this evening, you are going to, sell your property. And of course, with selling your property, you're looking for that end buyer. You're going to have a real estate agent. Eventually, you're going to need Paul with inspections. But we want to talk a little bit about the presentation of your home. Isn't that pretty big, Sharika? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, presentation. Well, you know the saying, presentation is everything. Someone brings you a plate of food and it doesn't look edible and it doesn't look inviting, you're hesitant on putting it in your mouth. Well, the same thing applies if you're a person is looking to buy a home and it doesn't look inviting and they can't imagine their things in that home, then that's going to be a challenge for the seller. So, as the realtor, Sharina, she's going to encourage you to declutter, to make it a nice, clean, open space to allow the potential buyers to be able to imagine their furniture or their lifestyle within that space. So cleanliness and declutter and curbside appeal, I think, are our top three things that we like to encourage our potential sellers to concentrate on before getting professional pictures and having open houses.
And I think it's just so important because, like you said, the end buyer needs to imagine their furniture in there. So, if you were the type of person who was in your home for 20 years, maybe your child had a purple room, maybe you had a green room, maybe a calming blue room, while all of those colors were perfect for you and your family. A lot of times it makes it a little difficult for that end buyer to be able to imagine all of the things that they want to do with the home. And then the next level, going to Paul, is that after your buyer submits the offer, you guys come to terms, and there's that inspection period, Paul's going to need to get in this home, right? He's going to need to see under sinks, and he's going to need to pull down the crawl space. And if all of your Christmas gifts are cluttering everywhere, or if you use the same, closet that you have for your AC unit, or something important cluttered where they can't get to it, that makes it a little more difficult for inspections. I know Paul, being the excellent man that he is going to get it done, but I think it just makes his job a little easier when you declutter. Talk to us a little bit, Paul, about the way that the home should kind of be set up or kind of decluttered prior to inspections.
Well, I think the big picture thing is to just focus on the items that are the major items that an inspector would have to get to. So, like if you have a garage, the worst thing you can do is take everything out of the living space and put it in that garage so the people can imagine what life in that house is going to be like when they get in. But then the offer gets accepted and the inspection process begins. And now we get into a garage where we have no access to an electrical panel or an air handler unit and a water heater, all three of which we need to look at, photograph, document the age and condition, and actually physically inspect. So it's important to try to make sure that the important things are there. Those important things would be just like we described in the garage for electrical panels, water heater, air handler. But also, I think you were talking, Sharina, just a moment ago about under the sinks. That's really important too. We do so many properties where you'll have like a Jack and Jill bathroom, and
Hmm.
underneath the sinks, there's two of them. You have nothing but an endless supply of just stuff that was shoved in there, including towels. And the one thing inspectors will try to do is the job they're there to do. But the more difficult thing is sometimes sellers don't appreciate you putting your hands on their belongings and trying to take that stuff out, and then you can never put it back the right way. So it creates an environment we'd rather not be in. No one would really be in, because if they're upset at the inspector for doing that, and the inspector can't see what he needs to see, that's a problem, and vice versa. So it's all about, I think, balance in the end. Sharika said it really very well in the way that she said to make it look um, presentable. Presentable is probably the best term. It's a lived-in house. No one's expecting it not to look lived in, right? So presentable is good, and then just leaving access to the things that really are a vital part of the transaction for the inspection company.
Yes, ditto everything you just said, Paul. Those vital things, because the last thing you want is for, inspection to be pushed off by a few days because you scheduled this. And Paul, you have so many other inspections for the next couple of days. You really couldn't get to something important, something very heavy was in front of it, where you have to reschedule this inspection, which puts everybody off, the buyer, the seller, the real estate agent. Everybody's like, wow, we have 2 extra days, all because something was in the way. And so, if you guys out there are looking to sell your properties, I know you fell in love with this home. We don't know the full reason why many of you have to sell. We know there's unfortunate circumstances, there's some things that are happening beyond your control, there's moving because of your job. You really love this home and don't want to move anyway, but make it as easy as possible for your inspector, for your real estate agent, for those who need to see this asset, to be able to. And so, moving to the next thought, I was thinking about hometown heroes, you guys. And I don't know about you, but can you guys just imagine a buffet of desserts? I mean, it's just, peach cobbler and sweet potato pie and pumpkin pie for people who like that, and apple pie and cheesecake and chocolate molten lava cake. And people are just going around this dessert buffet and they're getting their fill. And you get down to the last corner, and everybody in the restaurant now wants to put their spoon in that last corner because it's the last bit. We have been saying hometown heroes for a while, you guys. And I feel like, Sharika, you can share your thoughts, but we're getting toward this fund was 100 million, and then it was 50 million, and then there was 20 million, and then I think it was a 12 million and nine, and we're getting pretty low, Sharika.
I think
And
it's
it's
depleted.
we're getting pretty. Oh,
It's
wow.
depleted. That's over.
Oh gosh,
Hometown Heroes is over.
oh no, I done built up my whole little.
Yep, the funds are gone. For
Oh,
Hometown Heroes, the main thing with Hometown
oh
Heroes that I think
yeah.
where they may have didn't think it through is they opened it up for everybody.
Oh no. So Sherika, I gotta reverse a little bit because we're live. So you guys heard what I said about that corner being left of the chocolate cake? It's crumbs.
Gone.
There's nothing left. Wow, I can't believe I am just uh, this year's old finding out that it's gone. I've been trying to get a couple of my clients to get in, and I'm like, get in, get in, get in. But
This is
wow,
new. I think as of Friday, they put out that the
oh,
funds were depleted. So you're not behind. I think in the last
oh
24,
wow,
48 hours, they've said the funds are gone. Yes.
wow. So,
They may bring some back, but maybe this time when they bring it back, they won't open it up to everyone. Hometown Heroes was just for veterans, and then they opened it up to everyone. So that's how the funds, were taken up so quickly.
wow. So for those who are watching, Sherika, who kind of don't know what we're talking about when we talk about Hometown Hero, talk to us about this amazing program that was just opened up for our state.
Amazing program. Now, let me see. I may have to pull up my guidelines, but I know that they were opening it up to everyone. So at one point, it was only open up to veterans, and now it was open to anyone. So anyone that had a 640 credit score, they could get up to 4%, I believe, of the purchase price towards their down payment and closing costs. So this was great. And plus, Hometown Heroes also gave us a lower interest rate. Prior to this last pool that came out of funds, they were pricing at par, which would be a premium rate. So this particular pool of money, they gave a much better rate. So they were giving people, 6%. It wasn't a prime rate like 7% or 8%. So that's how the funds went so quickly because 4% of a purchase price is a large amount of money. I mean, you could literally come to the table now with only 1 to 2% of the purchase price and be a homeowner. So it is a very, very good program. Very good.
Wow. So I just built up my little cake story. Y'all just gonna have to just for those who are watching the playback, I know you're gonna get a little chuckle out of this right here. But yeah, an amazing program. I feel like I was trying to be able to let individuals know from the investment perspective, they were allowing you to buy a quad with Hometown Hero. You can ask for, and that was toward that would help you with closing and down payment assistance
Yeah.
to individuals who are living and working here in Florida. I thought it was such an amazing opportunity to be able to break into investing. Paul, I know you're on the inspection side. Did you have any workings with the Hometown Hero program or have any dealings with that?
We've had a couple of them. I'm not sure if it was just Hometown Heroes or there may have been a few other programs for veterans that, believe it or not, contact you directly. By the way,
Yep.
so we've been, I think Wounded Warriors Project could be one of them.
Yep.
I can't remember which one it was that we did last, but you know what I'm talking about, Sharika.
Yep.
But
You
that
got the
was like,
Homes for Heroes and the Hometown Heroes, Homes for Heroes, and then the what was the one you just said? The Warrior,
yeah, Wounded Warrior Project.
the Wounded Warrior. Yes.
Yeah, we do a lot of there's different programs for different things. So we've done several of those, and we continue to be active in teaching first time home buyer classes with some of the down payment assistance classes that are out there because of the counties and their programs. We've been able to get with a couple of companies that do that type of class, the required education to be
Yeah.
eligible for down payment assistance. So that's another program that can help, in this case, younger people
Yeah.
in most cases.
Wow.
And they have a
Wow.
bunch of down payment assistance programs, Sharina. So they still have the Orange County down payment assistance program that gives you up to $50,000. And each county has some type of down payment assistance. It's just the criteria or guideline for it may be a little bit different. It may be a silent second, or it may be forgivable in within 5 years. It just depends on what the guideline is for that particular program. But most counties have something that they're willing to help the first time home buyer with, which is usually starting at like $7,500.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's still some hope there. You guys who didn't, make it into, make it in time enough for the hometown hero. There's still some hope for you. So as we move to the next thought, I was watching this just funny. Have any of you guys out there just had like kind of a hard day, a rough day, kind of going through a couple things, and you just went to TikTok or Instagram and just saw some funny videos? I mean, just to kind of, relax from all the serious things you've been thinking about. A loan did go through, a closing didn't happen, a closing did happen, a client you thought you had, you don't, but you just kind of that emotional roller coaster up and down. I was watching this video, Sharika and Paul. I'm trying to keep it together. Talk about this video, but the interest rate was on the screen and the jogger was just jogging and it said like 8%. And then it went down to like 7.7%. And another jogger came in and then it went down to 6%. And another one came in and, for lack of better words, it went all the way down to 3. And all of these people were just running. And I guess it was giving us the visual of, I'm waiting on the interest rates to go down. I'm standing at the gas station. I'm talking to the cashier. Hey, do you own your home? This, oh no, they said it's not a good time to buy. And I'm like, listen. So all of the individuals who are waiting for these interest rates to go down, all being in the pot at the same time, all putting an offer at the same time, causing the, there to be all that competition. What are your thoughts, Sharika, on all of the individuals who are waiting for interest rates to come down?
I don't know exactly who said this. I want to say it was Warren Buffett, but he said the right time to buy is always the right time to buy. So with real estate, real estate is the longer you have it and you pay attention to the timing, the more of an investment that it becomes. I foresee the rates going down just a little bit, maybe next year, but I don't foresee us ever or in my lifetime seeing 2% and 3% interest rates anymore. Especially not in the Florida market. If you all do a Google, Florida's market is different than any of the other 49 states, meaning that our trajectory has gone up, meaning our buyers are still buying. We're up by 12-13% when the rest of the country is not. Their sales have actually gone down. So this is a very unique and peculiar market Florida is. This is Mickey Mouse. This is where everyone wants to come and live out their last days. We have the best weather. This is the place to be. So if you have an opportunity to buy, if you are actually eligible to buy, you do not want to wait for anything to happen because you may wait yourself out of getting in the game. And real estate is the first step, I believe, to a generational wealth or being able to make more money, because I bought my house 3 years ago as a first-time home buyer, and I have over $100,000 worth of equity in my home. I have never had that much money or be able to access that type of money to start a business, or if life presents to me some hardship, that I'm able to, have something to say, hey, I can make it through here, or I can even take that money and now invest in a multifamily home or in an investment property, whatever it may be. So for those who are saying, I'm going to wait, that this is not the time to buy, if you are able and approved to buy, get into something, and don't expect for your first property to be your dream home.
Yeah, and I think that I agree. And I think that I'm under the mindset that when a lot of individuals are telling you not to buy, there's a reason why they're still buying. It's kind of like stay out the pool so that more is available to me. And I think that education is so important, and knowing, I mean, in Polk County, so many are sitting on Polk County. There's some areas right now, Sherika and Paul, where $425,000 homes are being built in an
Mhm.
area where homes are 200,000. And I'm like, get the home now. Put some renovation into it. Put a little bit of, sweat equity in there. Get that $225,000 home. Put about 50,000 into it. Make sure it's a great renovation, company, and sit on that property for about a couple years and watch the equity. If it's sitting right in the middle of an upcoming developing area, that is the perfect investment, area for you, to be able to invest. And Paul, I know that for those who are listening right now, I know that if they're going to buy this investment property and they're going to use a loan, it's going to need to go through inspection. So I know that properties that sometimes need that complete gut, won't pass inspection. How would you advise a person watching? They're looking to take the loan for 285,000, let's say, for this $240,000 property, but it does need a lot of work. Can it pass inspection? Will it not? Are there some? Talk to us about that a little bit.
Well, with this, it comes down to strategy, because really that's the key with anything. So if you're looking at a property that might be in disrepair, how do we get the things that absolutely have to not pass a home inspection? Because we don't pass or fail. We just collect data and report it. But how do we strategize towards getting the closing done? And that comes down to insurance companies and what's going to cause a problem as you approach closing. So in order to be able to procure insurance, we have to make sure that the majors are taken care of. It's got to have a functioning air conditioning system. Air conditioned systems in the big picture, it could be 20 years old working. Nobody's going to deny you anything for an air conditioning system as long as it's working. But when it comes to plumbing, we have to make sure we have materials that are in good condition, not leaking. And we also have to make sure that we don't have materials that insurance companies are not friendly towards. But as long as we're able to get through that and the electrical being safe and the roof having some life left on it, I don't care what the rest of the house looks like. Now you can strategize in moving forward, but you have to make sure that the team you're working with has a really good understanding of the process, the players, what individual roles are in the transaction, the realtor, the insurance person, the inspector. You have to be collectively knowledgeable to be able to coach this person correctly. Biggest mistake I see happen is somebody in that is one cog in the wheel can ruin the whole trip. You know what I mean? So you really have to make sure that your entire team is experienced. So to answer your question, yeah, that's certainly good advice. Even if a home looks rough, it can be done, and it's smart because I know one person years ago in my life that passed on a property that went up for sale next door to the house that they lived in. And everyone he worked with said that you shouldn't take that type of a risk. It's a big risk. You could end up losing everything. So the fear is what stopped him from making
Amen.
the move. And I can tell you now you look almost, it's got to be about 45 years later. The biggest regret of their life was not getting over that fear and making that move.
That's right.
You can't go back and get a
Wow.
second chance at that. Opportunity comes, you got to take advantage of it.
I agree.
Yes, I love that. And I was over here looking at Google when you were talking, Paul, and the definition of the word risk is potential danger inherent in a situation or activity which may be anticipated to some extent, a situation involving exposure to danger. So to me, and this is Sharina processing. This is not just Sharina the realtor, but Sharina the woman who wants to leave a financial legacy for those who are coming after her. I think the risk is highly welcomed, anticipated. It's embraced when I think about the risk of leaving my family nothing. When I think about the risk of using my valuable time, skills, talents, and treasures to build someone else's company when I could be building my own. So for those who are out there, like, I do have a couple dollars, I have a primary residence, I don't know if I want to take on the risk of an investment property. You risk when you drive on four. So like when you drive on the,
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting here in Florida. But taking that risk, I believe that it's a proven investment strategy. If over 90% of those who are millionaires, Sherika, have
Mm-hmm.
done it through real estate, there's a
Mm-hmm.
proven track record there. There's real estates like yourself, myself, there's inspectors like Paul that you can bring inside of your village, inside of your corner, to be able to help you to choose your first investment property. So anyone who has the idea that, I'm not going to invest in real estate because it's too risky. Well, you really could be missing out on something that's so amazing. Properties that can be aired to your loved ones, properties that appreciate. And in business, you're allowed there's a tax for depreciation while
Yes.
this thing is appreciating. So there's a lot of good things that can come from this. Talk to us, Sherika.
Yeah, that's a lot of good things that come from having real estate portfolio. More importantly, I really believe that the biggest thing is just being able to you pull on your equity if you need to, or and like you said, or just leaving the inheritance. I am the president of a women's council of NAREB. It's the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and we teach the youth, and even just in general, just in our home buying classes, that we want to build it, keep it, and pass it along. That's what we want to do. We want to obtain the real estate, we want to maintain it, and we want to leave it. We don't want to liquidate. Now if you have a real estate portfolio, then that's a different game. But everyone should have a primary residence and maybe a second home where they're not liquidating that property unless they're doing that to upgrade or downgrade to, but always stay in ownership. Anytime you have the opportunity to get out of renting, you want to take that opportunity and do that, because you're never creating generational wealth by being a renter.
Yeah, and I agree with that, Sherika, because on the other show, I think it was last week, I talked about at some point in our lives, all of us rent at some time, but long-term renting, 10 years, 20 years, auntie been in the same house or grandmother's been in the, I
Mhm.
mean, after 20 years, this house has appreciated, let's say, $100,000, and you can't take advantage of that. There's the rent that you've been paying for 20 years that have helped this owner to be able to pay off the mortgage. You don't participate in any of that. You have no equity. You have no. So if you lose this rental property, you lose all of the 10 years of rent. You lose the appreciation that has happened in this property that's happened as a result of you being in it, living in the neighborhood, the upkeep of the property, and you can't take advantage of that. Oh,
Nor is that even reporting to your credit for you to get credit for. Rental income is not reported. You have to request that. And that is very detrimental to renters when they decide that they do want to become homeowners, because if they're living in a cash mentality, then you have no credit. Is no credit a better than bad credit? It absolutely is. But you do still want to have your landlord or your property management companies to report your on-time payments as renter, to get yourself in the mindset of eventually preparing and becoming a homeowner and getting into the real estate game. Absolutely.
yes, I totally agree. We do have a live question from Greg. With it being hurricane season, Paul, can an insurance claim, well for Paul or Sherika, can an insurance claim stop a closing? So I'm going to let you kind of tackle that a little bit, Paul.
I think it may. And the reason I say that is just from recent experience with Nicole and Ian. I had done, we usually do a couple of inspections per day per inspector on average. And I remember right before Ian and Nicole, I can't remember which one came first, but we did inspections. And then naturally, as the process was moving forward, the clients wanted the insurance inspections for the 4-point report and the wind mitigation. Well, we were told that they would not be taking those reports until after those storms passed. So, from my experience, it sounds like through that it certainly can delay a closing, because you won't be able to move forward until those things are done.
Correct. He's money on it. So right now, as we're speaking, citizens, farmers, all of the agencies have halted binding insurance policies. So if it was not already binded, and let's say you were closing, you're scheduled to close, let's say you were scheduled to close tomorrow or Wednesday, and you did not already have your declaration page, meaning that the policy was not already written, then they're not going to write it till after the hurricane. They put a freeze on it, is what they do. to the George that asked the question. Right now they're just at a freeze stage, meaning like they're not doing any insurance policies right now till after Idalia has gone, because now they may be inundated with claims,
Mm.
or the
Wow.
property that is actually insured by the seller, that company is going to be responsible for it, not the new company, based on the date that they were closing. Does that make sense?
Can
That
I
makes
add something
sense.
to that too? That I remember one of the things that had happened was we had waited for the storms to pass, and then we had to revisit to get the photos and get new information because that's what they wanted. We could not use what we used dated prior.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happens. Yep.
Wow, new photos after the storm. Putting that in the comments.
Yeah. What if
Wow.
now the shingles are gone on the roof, or now it's so many things that can happen because of wind damage and all things that now will have to be repaired and covered by the current insurance company, not the future insurance company.
Wow, really good observations, you guys. It reminds me of sometimes going through tests in life and going through storms and going through hardships. How you take a picture and you look one way, but then after that storm, you look a whole nother way. You look beautiful. Pressure has turned you into a diamond. The coal was under pressure, and now you're a diamond. Your pipes didn't burst. For those of you guys who have been under extreme pressure in life, you went through a lot in COVID. You allowed the storm to be able to change your photo. You're looking good. You're investing in real estate. You're tuned in to Ask the Agent. You're participative. You're commenting. You're tuning in every Monday. Look, I'm just boosting the show a little bit, but you're tuning in every Monday because you want to learn and know more about real estate. So right now we are at the 6:30 mark, you guys. I know many of you are just making sure that you are storm ready. So I definitely want to be mindful for you guys and for our guests. So we're just going to do about a half an hour on today. So before we end, Paul, I do like to just kind of give our reason why, we do what we do, Sharika. For the other shows that I do, we just kind of close off a little bit with our passion for doing what we do. Paul, what's your passion?
I think it's become a combination of caring about people, which motivates you in your profession because you apply your skills to helping other people in an area maybe where they don't have those same abilities. And then the other thing is, I think the longer you spend time in your career, the more you appreciate this, and that's the teaching aspect of it. Because I think all of us at some point we reach a place where we're more like have a teacher spirit, like we want to be able to do our profession, help the people the best we can, but then teach others, not only the home buyers that we deal with and the property owners, but also other people in our profession and colleagues in our circle or the village, as you call it. You know what I mean? Sharing knowledge and information. And really, when you get right down to it, I mean, that's what I think all of us really do. That's what all of us, I think, get motivated by.
Yeah. Yeah, the education piece is so big because I definitely can agree with that what you don't know can hurt you. And when I grew up, I didn't know that, you could buy an investment property. I didn't know that you could be the owner of an apartment building. Just goes to show how kind of closed my mind was. We lived in apartment buildings, we lived in units. But when I stood as a, 8 and 9 year old girl and I looked at this massive apartment and all of these units, I thought they were always owned by companies or corporations or the local bank. I didn't know that as a person, you could own real estate. You can own the Tower City downtown. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. You can own some of these buildings. So I love that education piece, because that's a part of my reason why, you guys, is educating and inspiring individuals who never thought they could become an owner, that you can not only start to build generational wealth through FHA quad, 3.5% down, 3% down. You can ask for seller concessions. You can get a property next to nothing down if you work it right and you really work the village, you guys. So that's your first property. You living in one and renting out three, you're starting investor, and then you use a portion of these funds to be able to pay down the mortgage and use the other portion of the funds not for yourself, but to save for your next investment. Listen, you're building some things, and you're going to free yourself up to be able to really live out your reason why versus being tied to a clock. And the last thing I'll say before I pass it to you, Sherika, is my husband saw this either TikTok or Instagram that talked about the job is paying the job pays you to ignore your dreams.
Oh
So
yes.
something along those lines, like you're
Mhm.
getting paid that hourly wage. We all have worked a job, at some point in our lives, but for the long term, there's some dreams, some passions, and some things that you want to contribute to the humanity, but you're so busy working two and three jobs that you can't even enjoy the reason why you're living and breathing. And so he said, the person pays you at the job for you to ignore your true dreams or something along those lines. And so, real estate for me and teaching is an opportunity to be able to share financial freedom is possible for you through real estate, which is something all of us need. And so, such a great commodity. They're building it everywhere. And so, Sherika, what is your reason why?
My reason why is because I never thought that I would be a homeowner. I made some horrible, horrible financial decisions in my earlier day, and I just never thought that I could become a homeowner. But I tell all of my clients and people that I don't know that if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I believe that God blessed me to be able to do it, to be able to teach people the way to do it, whether you are having student loan challenges, or maybe you owe the IRS, or you have a lot of bills and you don't manage your money well. Whatever the case may have been, God has delivered me from all of those things to allow me to be a homeowner. So my passion definitely is in teaching people that were like me, that may feel like I'm never going to become a homeowner. I won't ever do that. I'm just going to settle to be a renter. That's my passion. And I get up every day hoping and praying that I will run into someone that I can share my story with, that will influence and impact them, to motivate them to take the steps that's necessary to become a homeowner and get into the game. Because it really just takes 1 year to change your life, no matter where you're coming from.
Change your year, change your life, change your year, change your life. For all of those who are like, change, change, change. I wanted to buy, but I almost got the down payment saved, but my car went out. I mean, if you can get it, Sherika, I think that first property might be the most difficult, but after
And then
that,
after that, you got it. I'm telling you, after that, it is almost just what they say, rinse and repeat.
yes, ma'am. And they have so many, you guys, from your single wides to your trailers. Listen, if the property is on land and the land is being sold with the property, did you know that you can get a loan for that?
Yeah.
So even if you don't feel, like you have it, 2 and 300,000 is not a lot. But if you want to, kind of come down, bring it down to that 70,000, 80,000, there's trailers and single wides and different things that you can purchase with the land. Of course, it can't be lot rent type of
Yep.
facility, but if
Mhm.
it's purchased with the land, you can actually get a loan approval for that. So if you're looking to invest in real estate, Sherika's here, Paul is here for your home inspection. I'm here as your real estate agent to help you to be able to find a home with VA, 0% down. So there's
Yep.
so many ways. There's so
I
many
knew
ways.
one guy one time that to expand on what you were saying, Sharina, just so I can appreciate like spending 70, 80, 90, $100,000 on a trailer if you buy the land. Because the one guy that I had known that had done that did that, and then he lived there, and then he decided he was going to have his house built there. So he had the land. He lived in this little trailer for a while, but they saved money. They had a great investment, and then they built the house. So there's always an avenue, as long as you have inspiration and people who are willing to shine light down that path, so you could see that there is a light down there. You got to take that road, and that's what you're doing here. So maybe another conversation another time, but I think that that's a really good thing for people who don't have a lot of money, should be looking at that, exactly what you advised. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
I
So
agree.
we are here, Sherika, Sharina, Paul. We are here, and there's so many other villagers that we have connection with that will definitely guide you and help you to make, your first investment a wise decision. You
Yes.
limit more of your risk, I believe, when you have people in your corner that know their individual field. When Paul is great in inspections and Sherika gets that loan to go through and I find that property, and when you can get the appropriate experts in the village to kind of get in your corner, I believe that it limits more of your risk, when jumping into investment. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please be safe during, this season. Say the name again, Sherika.
Adalia.
Adalia. Adalia is coming, and why is she a woman's name? It's another conversation, but just kidding with you guys. So have a great Monday, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your questions. Crazy Sin Job. I do see your comments. Go ahead and give me a call in about 20 minutes, and we can talk offline about that property that you're speaking of. All right, you guys, have a great evening. Thank you for your questions, comments, shares, likes. Please join me here on Mondays at 6 p.m. We're normally live 6 to 7. Wanted to let you guys go a little early because I know you're preparing, just making sure your home is ready for, the storm that's passing through. So my guests are going to stay on, but I'm going to let